Hey parents, who is your parenting partner? Oftentimes the parenting partner isn't the spouse. That may be due to divorce or work schedules or a number of other things. Parenting partners are important. Sometimes these partners are the daycare provider or our best friends. Sometimes it's our own parents. Either way, don't go it alone. Does your child have a speech-language delay and you really want them to talk? Do difficult behaviors derail home life and you know the frustration is a communication struggle? Does your child see a speech therapist and you wonder, what do they do and how can I help? If these or similar questions are in your mind, this podcast is for you. Hello, my name is Dinalynn Rosenbusch. I am a speech-language pathologist that has worked with children from birth to 21 for 3 decades. And in my classrooms, I see you wanting to connect with the heart of your child, but their speech and language skills create a barrier. So if you have a kiddo that has difficult behaviors, needs to expand their language or learn to say speech sounds, and maybe even receives speech therapy, stay tuned, because in this podcast, you will learn how to use your daily life as a tool to communication practice and how to do that practice. You will become confident knowing you are making the difference you want to make. And you will hear success stories of parents who have navigated these struggles already. We'll do this all while focusing on building deep, meaningful connection and confidence in your kiddo. So grab a cup of coffee along with a notebook and pen. It's time to speak in the way your child's brain understands. And that is the language of play. Hey, welcome back to the Language of Play. I'm glad you're with me today. I'm always excited when I get to talk with you. It's such a joy. Coming up next week, there are 2 events you might find interesting. One of them is International Women's Day, and there's a Voices of Women Summit on Friday. And if you would like to participate as a speaker, then you could do that. There's a link in the show notes. Also, if you want to just listen in to an amazing array of speakers, then that would be a free thing that you can go to. And it is online all day long, so you can come and go as you please. But I do encourage you, moms, to think about yourself and your story, because the many of you that I have met, you're remarkable. You all underestimate yourselves though, but I'll tell you, moms are remarkable, and you have a success story that is worth sharing. And if this is something that you've always wanted to challenge yourself, there is a stage for that at International Women's Day at the Voices of Women Summit, and you can see it in the show notes. The other thing, on March 6th, is Podapalooza, and that is an event where podcasters, guests, and hosts get together, and along with that, on the main stage, there is a tremendous amount of business information. And if you have a business of your own and you would like to gather some amazing information from really good speakers, that would be a place that you could go. The tickets are $10 for the main stage, and you can catch that in the show notes below as well. And of course, I want to bring up my next new product, which is 21 Days of Encouragement. And you can find that in the show notes too. Just click on the link that says 21 Days of Encouragement, and it will bring you to a page where you can enter your name and email. And for 21 consecutive days, you will get a small nugget of information about parenting, something about communication, connection, or play. And it's followed by a question to ponder, so you can consider, how can I up-level my own parenting in this particular area? I mimicked what it is that I like, which is a very short nugget of information that I can stew on for a while. Our brains learn easily and well this way when there's a frequent dip that is short. So that's why I created that for you. I care very much on how it is your family is communicating. All right, let's talk about parenting partners. What is a parenting partner? And what role do they play? What is the benefit? Well, first, a parenting partner is somebody that comes alongside you in your parenting journey. They are the people that you can rely on when your kids are sick, to run to the store for you to get what it is that you need. Or maybe it's that you are struggling with temper tantrums and other behaviors, and you just want somebody to come alongside you and tell you, is this normal? Is this something we can fix? Do you have any ideas for me? Sometimes that parenting partner might be like a daycare provider, where they see behaviors during the daytime, and you can mention the behaviors that you are seeing and ask their advice. A parenting partner isn't necessarily an expert, but it is somebody that cares deeply about you and your child and wants to come alongside you so that they can support you in raising your child to be the best human that he can be. For me, as my children were small, I had two primary parenting partners. One was my best friend. We had children close to the same age, and regularly we would talk to each other, and we would look at our children as they play and think, what are they doing? Why do they do that? And together we studied, and together we shared the information that we know. Each of us come to the table with a different skill set, a different set of eyes, a different way to interpret the situation that's happening. Fortunately, I had a friend that was very in tune to people. She was working on her license in marriage and family therapy at the time that we were raising our children. In fact, she's such an amazing person that I interviewed her on episode 108, and I'll put that in the show notes. When you have the opportunity to learn together with a friend, you can really help each other out. Kids are confusing. The other parenting partner that was very supportive to me was a daycare provider. Because when my kids were very small, there were things that I just didn't know. And sometimes I'd bring them hungry, or I'd bring them crabby or tired to her. And she would gently take over. I'd call her during the day, or maybe she would call me if things would come up. She also lived near me, and occasionally we were able to have social time together as well. Both of these people really, really helped me because I was a single mom, and I hadn't yet learned what it is that I know now. But even if I did know a lot about parenting when my kids were small, it's still important to have somebody to come alongside you and give you a break when you need it. So the next thing is the role that a parenting partner plays. They play the role of encouragement and sometimes picking up the slack. They share the love for your child. We don't always feel loving, and we don't always behave as lovely as we'd like to think that we do. Our parenting partners can love us through our unlovely moments when we feel discouraged by ourselves. They help us see the big picture when the little things become really irritating. So what is the benefit of having a parenting partner? The benefit is that you have more courage to go forward. You have a sense of peace in you. The support you feel because you know you're not alone sometimes is all you need, is just knowing somebody's there so that you can go on and do the next thing. Parenting is hard work. Parenting is persistent. It is not easy to keep being nice when you are up all night for several nights in a row. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. So the benefit is that your parenting partner will validate you too, to let you know and remind you that just because you lost your cool doesn't mean you're a bad parent, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Your parenting partner has your back. They believe in you. If you don't have a parenting partner, I want to encourage you to consider that that is a need, a necessity, not something that is optional. So where might we find parenting partners? It is best to have somebody three-dimensional, if at all possible, and that means in person. But there are also some places that you can find a parenting partner online. They won't fill all the roles, but they might be able to fill some of the roles. The roles being of conversation and encouragement and thinking together on how to solve a problem. The Language of Play has a Facebook group that serves this need for people. You can find that link in the show notes too. But it makes a big difference if you can find somebody that is three-dimensional when what you really need is a hug. Now, some of the places you might find another parenting partner. Maybe it's going to be in the school where you notice that there is another mom or dad that also is parenting a child alone. Maybe they're not parenting a child alone, but you hit it off together well. Maybe you find somebody in your workmate, somebody that you work with that also has children right around the same age, and you start to talk about it. And then maybe you get together on the side and see how well you blend. Maybe you find a parenting partner at church, and there you might have really good shared values, so you can support one another well. Maybe your parenting partner is going to be the daycare provider. Maybe it's going to be your parent or your parent-in-law or the neighbor. It's interesting how since COVID, many people have pulled back and they stay away from others a little bit more. It's less comfortable to reach out and talk to people. But I want to encourage you to do it for your well-being as well as for your kids. Broaden your circle. Support one another, because if you have a spouse, your spouse isn't always going to be available for you either. He or she is just as human as you are and also needs a break. All right, if this episode made you think a little differently, challenged you, grew you a little bit, I would love to hear about it. And you can drop the comment at hello@thelanguageofplay.com and let me know how this impacted you. Hey parents, I hope you found this episode helpful. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who also lives or works with children? I would really appreciate it if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I read every review, and it lights me up to know that this show is making a difference. Then come join my Facebook community, where you'll meet other parents who are dedicated to helping their children grow too. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thank you for joining me. Now it's time to go. Let's pop our kiddos in the strollers and go look around outdoors and see what we have to talk about.